Hey, this Blake from Detroit, another Detroit person.
Two Detroiters in a row.
Yeah, for sure. I had a couple things that I wanted to say about like the approach, like the left takes as far as like using aggression. As far as even like this debate strategy or political strategy. But somebody like Ron DeSantis, right? He talks about the stuff, the border and people being shot at the border and taking out drug dealers. Like, okay, if you get caught at the border with a pack and you got drugs in it, it's a system in place for that already. Yeah. So, like, what do you think? Like, what is it like? How does that work, Ron DeSantis? You know what I'm saying? So if you see somebody with a book bag, you just start shooting. Because if they're checked and they're investigated and they got drugs, it's a system in place for that. So Dora the Explorer, if Dora the Explorer came to the border, she gonna get shot? She got a book bag. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that work, Ron DeSantis? And I've seen him like bring this up multiple times without being pushed on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the hood, bro. Any threat to, I know drug dealers. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like that would just be a dictator type dude would only use for the border. That shit would transition to the neighborhood too. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I feel. But when you have somebody like that, with me, like, from my upbringing, we don't play that shit. Like, threats to us, threats to our safety. Not saying drug dealers, but just people in general. Like, the dictator state of mind needs to be checked. And when I say, like, the whole freedom of speech thing, somebody called in yesterday to you guys, and they was talking about freedom of speech and stuff. It's not an infringement on your freedom of speech to go to tell news, to charge news people and politicians for lying on TV. That's not an infringement on your freedom of speech.
No.
That shit should not be legal. You know what I'm saying? It should be rules against that. Even if it's short period, you lie as a politician, go sit in jail for 1 month. You know what I'm saying? It can be reasonable ways of discipline for when those things happen. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's hard because then the argument becomes, who makes that assessment and whatnot.
But I'll say when it comes to elections, like the Argentinians have a guy, Milei, I think it is. He's running the Bolsonaro-Trump playbook. Like there's an electoral conspiracy against this. I don't think you should be allowed to say that as a politician. And I think like, to the extent that we should have governing bodies and look, this is a risky proposition because the Republicans are going to say like in 2000, right? If you question the 2000 election, we're going to throw you in jail.
Right.
Okay, but like, well, I think when it comes to people, when people have the things in front of them to see the actual facts, because, Fox News, they don't tell no truths at all. All of that whole side of news, of like news networks, they lie. As a person in a position of power, if you got on TV and you just had a big ass video screen in the back and just showing them multiple lies from Ted Cruz, from Matt Gaetz, all these garbage ass people that I feel like somebody that's coming in an aggressive, from an aggressive point of view, was just like, I can't be in the same room with Matt Gaetz, bro. Like, and debate.
But you touched on it, caller. You touched on it because, I mean, when you say Fox News lies all the time, the role of the media in the way that we've constructed, like, our government, right, or at least what it's supposed to be, is a check on those lies. But Fox is able to lie to back up these claims, and that's in part because they've been so aggressively deregulated over the past few decades. So my answer to you would be, it's more about getting our media and like, honestly, certain probably FTC manners of looking into some of this stuff and making it so that the media is stronger to call this out, because it's too difficult to police what the lies that the politicians are saying. And I think they're more likely to lie because of the way that we've allowed our, media conglomerates to be so deregulated. That's my answer to you.
True. All right, I get that. Okay. All right. Another thing I did, if we still got time, I did want to speak.
Could be very quick. Very quick.
Okay, like misinformation in the neighborhood, in like black neighborhoods, because the people who in black neighborhoods who are informed on politics are well informed, and the people who are not talk the most. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people who are uninformed on politics just run their mouth so damn much. And it gets to the point where I have heated debates with people who are uninformed. I had a dude tell me that Ronald Reagan was a Democrat. The dude was aware that Ronald Reagan was the reason for the trickle-down effect and all that stuff. But he said Ronald Reagan was a Democrat. I had a chick tell me that.
Reagan was a Democrat, but just like 30 years, but not before he entered politics. He was a Democrat. When he was an actor, he was actually the president of the SAG. And that was before SAG and AFTRA combined. And then he got paid, I think it was by, I want to say Westinghouse or General Electric. I can't remember exactly who it was. And he went around the country basically going in and arguing against single-payer health care. And started his trajectory as a Republican. And if I remember correctly, that was like early 60s. I think that started with him. But he was at one point a Democrat, but never when he was in elected office.
Right. And I doubt that dude was aware of that. But
I would agree. I'll tell you, this week, in terms of like Israel and Gaza, I've had multiple conversations with people who have very strong opinions, and then within it takes me about 90 seconds to talk to them, and I realize you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
What you're talking about.
And in this instance, it's like they're advocating for really I don't want to mischaracterize what they said up at least to that first 90 seconds, but people are willing to advocate, sort of like near genocide. And I'm not suggesting that there isn't full genocide that is being advocated, but I'm saying in my conversations, really sort of some vile stuff. And then it takes 90 seconds, and I realize you don't know even the most basic of facts of what you're talking about.
And the thing that's worse is they don't even care.
Well, then it becomes, my experience has been whatever. And,
or you support Hamas.
There's a lot of vibes going on that aren't very good, but I appreciate the call. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Sam. Y'all have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
Yeah, the thing about the vibes thing that bothers me the most is how uncritical people are about their assumptions about which people deserve their sympathy and to listen to. Words are escaping me a little bit right now, but it's basically a lot of Islamophobia that people just never seemingly reckoned with in the wake of 9/11. And they just have these assumptions about Palestinians and what terrorism really means that end up just being basically it's just racism. And that's the thing that bothers me the most right now about the response and how few people seem to care about the children dying versus the Israeli children dying, and how babies are supposed to be the thing that we can all agree we're trying to protect. Even conservatives pretend that they're protecting babies with their anti-abortion stuff. But then when it comes down to it, conservatives and even some good liberals, they do see some babies as more worthy of protection than others. And that to me has been the most depressing thing about all of this.
I mean, that's where I think you begin to see the inherent sort of supremacy embedded in Zionism. And certainly in the way that it's practiced now. Let's put it that way.